Hello. In this video, I will do an Alex Exam 8. This would be part one. This would be broken down into two parts. So let's just start with the exam. Question one says simplify the following rational expression. So what you really want to do is they want you to factor a GCF and cancel as much as you can. Oops, I don't like green. Let's try it. So on the top, 3x squared minus 6x. Well, what can I take out? Or my GCF. So it looks like it could take out 1x because over here there's 2 and then there's 1 here. So the maximum x's you can take out evenly is 1x. What about the constant? So between the 3 and the 6, what number are they both divisible by? And it has to be the largest. So between 3 and 6, this is how I see it. Between 3 and 6, what is the largest number that they're both divisible by? 3, right? So we could definitely factor out a 3. So this is going to be, and then you can't change the problem. So what do you have to multiply 3x to get 3x squared? Well, you're going to need one more extra x because remember when you multiply, this has a visible one. When you multiply this out, you add the exponents, right? So that's that. And then it's going to be minus 2 minus 6. Okay, now do the bottom. 9x squared minus 12x. What can you take out? So let's start with our letters x. You have 2, you have 1, you can take out 1x. Over here, you have a 9 and a 12. You can take out 3. And wait, between 9 and 12, is that the largest you can take out? Or the divisible by? Yes, definitely 3. Okay, so, and so then you're going to need a 3x minus 4. And then what cancels? 3x. So we're left with x minus 2 over 3x minus 4. Okay, so that's the answer. Okay, let's move on with question two. Solve the following equation. Um, we have two sides. We have the left and the right. So it looks like we can cross multiply because if you only have two sides, you can cross multiply, right? So I'm going to cross multiply and let's see what we get. So it would be x minus 4 times x minus 1 equals to x plus 9 times 2x plus 5. Okay, so FOIL this out. So this is going to be x squared. This is going to be negative x. This is going to be negative 4x. And negative 4 times negative 1 is positive. Maybe we should clean this up a bit. So it's going to be x squared. Negative 1x, negative 4x is negative 5x plus 4. And then the same thing here. FOIL this out. And this is going to be x times 2x is 2x squared. X times 5 is 5x. 9 times 2x is 18x. And then 9 times 5 is 45. And then this is going to be 2x squared. And then 5 plus 18 is x. Okay, and then let's get inside zero. So I think it's wise to move everything to the right. So I'm going to subtract x squared, subtract x squared, add 5x, add 5x, 4, 4. 2x squared minus 1x squared is 1x squared. 23 is 5 is 28x. 45 minus 4 is 41. Dang it. It looks like it doesn't factor nicely. Yeah, there's no two numbers that multiply 41 and add gives you 28. So unfortunately, you're going to have to do the quadratic. So if it doesn't factor, you're going to have to use the quadratic. So here's the quadratic. X equals opposite of B. So my A is 1, B is 28, and C is 40. So the opposite of B is negative 28 plus 1 minus root B squared. So that, let me do that. Calculator, 28 squared is 784 minus 4 times A is 1, and C is 41 all over 2A. Clean this up a bit, so it's negative 28 plus 1 minus. So it's 784 4 2. You get x equal. So one of my x value is going to be negative 28 plus square root of 620 all over 2. And that is about -1. And then the other one is negative 28 minus square root of 620. Negative 26. So yes, my two x values are negative 26 point. Uh, yeah, this round is if there's a 5 here. So negative 26.45 and negative 1.55. So it looks like it's B, right? X is negative 26.45. X equals negative 1.55. Graph the rational function f of x equals negative x plus 1 for x plus 1. So yeah, how do we graph this? Simple. What we're gonna need first is we need to first we gotta check for holes, right? For all rational functions, always make sure for holes. So what is a hole? It's a coordinate, and how do you know you have a hole? If you factor this, which this can't be factored anymore, if you do factor something and something cancels, that means you have a hole. So fortunately, negative x plus 1 all over x plus 1, it can't be factored anymore. So there's no holes. So we can forget about that. So the next thing is I'm going to find the vertical asymptote. I'm going to abbreviate it as VA or vertical asymptote. So how do you do that? You simply set the bottom to 0 and solve for x. Okay, subtract 1, we get x equals negative. Okay, step 2, we're going to find the horizontal, and that is going to be y equals. And what you do is look at the highest term on the numerator and then the highest term on the denominator. That's it. And then you figure out the rules. So what is my highest term? Numerator? That's correct. Negative x or negative x1. What is my highest term on the bottom? Yes, that's correct. X1. Okay, so why didn't I choose one? Because one does have a power. It's just like one x to the zero, right? X one times x to the zero is still technically one, but I don't care about this because this has a power of zero, so I don't have to worry about that. It's just the highest power. Okay, so what can you tell me about these degrees? Are they the same, bottom heavy or top heavy? They are the same, right? The degrees are the same. So if you recall, um, when the degrees are the same, you just use the coefficient. So it's going to be y equals -1. Okay. And then go ahead and graph it and then just plot some random points. You don't have to find the x-intercept or the y-intercept. Right? You don't have to graph more points than you need to. So let's see here. So my vertical asymptote is, what were they? -1. So here's -1. And then do a dash line like that. And my horizontal asymptote is y equals -1. Maybe I should use a different color, but blue. So y equals -1 is right here. And then what you got to do next is just plot random points. So um, do you see that we have only two sides? This is like the first side. This is the second. Do you see that? So let's test the first side. So we can't use the x value -1, right? But we definitely can use the x value 0. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to plug in 0 to the function. So where we see x plug in 0, right? This is 1. And so you get a point of 0. Okay, so we have a point at 0, 1 right here. And did you know that's good enough? Because it doesn't cross the blue dash line and it doesn't cross the red dash line. And like it's gonna occur because that's how rational functions behave, right? Okay, there you go. Now let's do the left side. We can't use the x value -1, but we definitely can use the x value -2. So go ahead and plug that in. So wherever you see an x, plug in -2. So it's -2. 2 negatives becomes positive, so 2 plus 1 is 3. -2 plus 1 is -1, so you have a point at -2, comma -3. Okay, it's right here, and you know it's not going to cross the red or the blue. There you go. So there's your graph. So which is that going to be? Mhm. See, I don't think it's A. I mean, it looks really close, but it's not quite there. Let's see. So they don't really show you the asymptotes on -2. Wait, maybe it is A. 30. Let's see. X is -1. No, it's not A. There, yeah, it is C. Here's -1, and then Y equals -1. They don't show it to you, but as you can see, you can tell it's like there is a vertical dash line here.
no horizontal dash line here. As you can see, right, yeah, there we go. Okay, question four, solve the equation. So the good news is they both have a radical in the bottom in this side, but there's nothing like outside. So what you could do immediately is just get rid of the square root by squaring both sides, right? And this is really comes out really nice. So on the left, when you square this, the radical disappears. So you're left with x squared plus 4x plus 4. And then on the right, when you square this, it's going to be 4x squared plus 4x plus 1, right? And what should I do next? I think it's best to move everything to the right. So I'm going to subtract x squared, subtract 4x, subtract 4. This cancels, this cancels, this cancels. What goes there? 4x squared minus 1x squared is 3x squared. This cancels. 1 minus 4 is -3. And then solve for x, you're going to add 3 to both sides. They get 3 equals to 3x squared. You get 1 equals x squared. Take the square root of both sides, you get x equals plus minus 1, because when you take the square root, you get 2 roots, right? So it's C. Okay, this one, express the following in natural log. So basically, you're just going to use express the following in terms of natural logs, and you have log of e cubed. So basically, you're just going to take the change base formula. That's it. So what does that mean, change base formula? So basically, you either take the ln or log of each term, and because there's an e, I am going to take the ln. So let's start with e cubed. So what is the ln of e cubed? Well, when you expand it and you have a power, you put the power in front of the ln or log. So this could be simplified as 3 ln e. And what happens is the ln a cancels, so you're just left with 3. Now do the bottom. It's the ln of whatever this base is. There's no base, but there is. If there's no number in front of, like, if there's no number here, right, it's an invisible 10. So it's going to be ln 10. Okay, so it's going to be okay, let's move on to question 6. Solve the equation. We have 2 raised to the 3x minus 1 equals 8 raised to the 4x. What you want to do is probably get everything in a common base. So it's like this has a base of 2, this is a base of 8. What I will do is rewrite this base as a 2, so it's going to be 2. What's 2? 2, what to the power gives you 8? 2, 4, 2 to the cube, right? And then you still can't forget about your raising it to the 4x. And then on the left, it's 2 raised to the 3x. And then over here, you can remember the rule. If you raise, you multiply, so 3 times 4x is 12x. And then over here, you have 2 raised to 3x plus 1. And then as you can see, the 2 disappears, so you're left with 3x minus 1 equals to 12x. And I'm going to subtract 3x from both sides. So you get -1 equals to 12 minus 3 is, and then divide this by 9, get x equals, there you go. Find the distance between these 2 points. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to label each point carefully because it's going to be x1, y1, x2, y2, right? So the distance is square root of x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. Okay, so my x2 is -12 minus my x1 is -5, so -5 squared plus my y2 is -5 minus my y1 is -7 squared. Here, two negatives becomes a positive. So again, 7. Two negatives becomes a positive, so that's -5 plus 7 is +2. -7 squared is 49, and 2 squared is 4. It's pretty okay. So it's yeah, your distance is square root of 53. I believe 53. No, it can't be reduced. So that's prime. So that is your answer. Okay, this one, compute the cube root of 27. This is a perfect cube, so what number times itself 3 times gives you 27? 3 times 3 times 3, right? So this is just going to be 3. Question 9, solve for x. So I was, yeah, I was thinking, you have this triangle and it's not a right triangle because this height, this 120 should be 90. But if you do find this missing angle, um, it would be 30 degrees, right? Because how do I know? Wait, so because the sum of the triangle adds up to 180. So if you do 120 plus 30, that's 150, right? And then it's going to be 180 plus 150, which is 30. So yeah, do not. Yeah, this is what when I first did this problem, I tried doing Pythagorean theorem. Why can't you use Pythagorean theorem? Because it has to work, it only works in right triangles, right? Uh yeah, 90-degree angles. So this is a 120, so we can't do Pythagorean. So what could you do? You could use what's called the law of sine. So how do you do it? It's going to be the sine. So for example, if you want sine of this angle 30 right here has a side length of x equals to, and then it's going to be sine. So then you got to use, I think I'll use sine of 120, and 120 is facing 7. Okay, well that's how I set it up. The angle over the side length. Now I have to have one unknown, so that's why I did this angle, right? So go ahead and cross multiply and see what happens. So x times sine 20, that's going to be x sine 20 plus 7. Cross multiply 7 times 7 sine 30. Solve for x, you're going to divide both sides by sine 120. Put that in calculator. Row 4. Uh, what is, I think it's D. Because if you put that in the calculator, so they use real, because 120 and 30 are a degree within the unit circle, they use exact values. But you can use a decimal if you want, because you just have to check. So what is 7 divided by square root of 3? 4.04. So this is the one. Yep, the one. Question 10. We have 16 thirds divided by 8 over 2. So it's, you can rewrite this as 16 over 3 divided by 8 over 2 is 4, or 4 over 1, right? 8 over 2 is 4. And then we make cross multiply. So 1 times 16 is 16. 3 times 4 is 12. And then you may reduce. So this could be reduced by 4. So 16 divided by 4 is 4. And then 12 divided by 4 is 3. So you get 4 thirds. 11. A ceramic tile costs 350 per square foot. If you want a tile, needs a tile kitchen with an area of 48 square feet, what is the total price of the tiles needed? So yeah, it's just cost equals, and then it's gonna be 48, 350 times 48. That's it. 60. It's question 12. What I'm gonna do is solve. So what should I do? I think I should FOIL it out. So 1/3 times x is 1/3 x. 1/3 times negative 30 is 1 times 3 is 30. 1/3 times 39. Should I reduce this? Why not? Yeah, let's reduce this by 5. So 30 divided by 5 is 6. No, should I go further? Yeah. So it's 6 divided by 3 is 2. 9 divided by 3 is 3. Equals, and then 1/6 times 2x, that's 2x over 6. Which can be used by 2, so x over 3. And then 1 6 times -4 is -4 over 6, which can be reduced by 2. So that's okay. And then you're gonna get rid of the fraction by multiplying everything by LCD. Good. As you can see, the LCD is definitely 3. So 3 times x is an x minus 3 times -2/3. So 3 is canceled, so -2. 3 times that, the x disappears. 3 times that, that's -2. Okay. So it looks like you have x minus 2 equals x minus 2. This is, as you can see, the left equals to the right. So if that's true, if you have a true statement, it's going to be infinitely many. If it was a false statement, for example, if it was like 5 equals 3, it would be no solution, right? But ours is a true statement, so it's being infinite. This one. Let's see. Question 13 says which graph shows this? So we have the graph y equals 5 with 1/2 x. So what we'll need is the period, the phase shift, and all that stuff. Or no, let's see. Let's start with the amplitude. So amplitude is going to be the absolute value of 5, which means that your max is 5 and it's -5, right? What else? Period is 2 pi over b. My b is the number in front of x, so it's 1/2. So it's going to be 2 pi divided by 1/2. And then if I cross multiply, this is going to be 4 pi. And what else? 4 period equals 4 pi. What else? So you kind of can see, should we test? What else do we know about sine graph? Does the sine go through the origin or does it go through the max? Like, what do you think? I forgot to. Yeah, it definitely goes through the origin. I think the cosine starts with the max. So is it an A? I mean, yeah, it does have max 5 and -5 and does go through the origin, but is the period 4 pi? Could be A. Is it B? Is it B? No, I think it's backwards. See, it does go with the origin, but it's flipped. So even though it has a max 5 and a negative minimum -5, it should be flipped the other way. Is it C? I think it might be the one. I think it's C. Double check. Yeah, it's the um so yeah, as you can see, it goes through the origin, has a max of 5 and a -5. And what you could do else is you could look test points, right? If you test the x value 3, will it give me would it spit out exact y value 5? It should. So let me double check, please check. So when I test the x value 3, sine, it's going to be 1, x value is 3. What is the sine of 3 halves? Times 5. Yeah. I think this is the one. It's the only one with the max 5, minimum 5, goes to the origin. It's not going backwards. And yeah, I think it's the one. Okay, let's continue. The length of a rectangle is 2.5 times its width. Which of the following is the correct expression for the perimeter of this rectangle? So they don't want, if you look at all the choices, they don't want the actual values. They want it in terms of L and W. So if you want, you could draw a rectangle if it image helps. So here you have a rectangle. Here is your length, and here's your width, right? The length of a rectangle is 2.5 times its width. So it's 2.5 W. And then do we know the width? Not yet. It's just W, right? Which is the correct expression of the perimeter? So what do we know about the perimeter of the rectangles 2L equals 2W, right? So it's going to be 2 times L, which is 2W plus 2W, right? Okay, we'll clean that up. So that is going to be 5W plus 2W, just 7. So that is letter B. Okay, question 15. Which of the following expression represents a translation of the function f of x equals 3 raised to the x plus 17 minus 9, 3 units to the right, and 5 units downwards? So 5 units downwards, that is vertical shift. And see, we already have a vertical shift. We have a -9. So if you shift it 5 units down, that's 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay, that's -14. And then you have 3 raised to the x plus 17. And then what you do is, how do we do the 3 units to the right? Do we add 3 or subtract 3? Simple. I gotta remember it. Yeah. So it says 3 units to the right. So you're going to actually subtract 3. So it's going to be 3. If you subtract 3, this 17 is no longer going to be 17, it's going to be 14. So it's x plus 14 minus 14. That's letter A. Okay, question 16. Find the volume of the following cylinder. So the volume of the cylinder is R squared. Double check that's another cylinder is yeah, it's actually pi r squared times h. There you go. So it's going to be v equals pi, and my radius is somewhere at least 2. My height is 5. So that's going to be pi, and then 2 squared is 4 times 5, which is 25. Oh, and then they didn't, you got to replace pi. They want exact values, so replace pi with 3.14. So if you already put that exactly in the calculator, then you get 62.83 centimeters cubed. Okay, so that is 62, yeah, D. Okay, here we have a triangle. Um, what is the height of the palm tree? So yeah, what we're gonna do is like set up a ratio. Okay, so on the left side, do you see two triangles? This one and then the main one, the main big one. Okay, so maybe we could do smaller triangle here, and then on the right, the larger triangle. So on the left, 20 and 18, they're both legs, right? Um, this would be a larger leg, and then this would be a smaller leg. So over here, the larger leg is 20, and then the larger leg, the smaller leg is 18. And then over here, the same idea. It has to be a larger leg, smaller leg. So over here, this would be technically the larger leg. So 20 plus 26 is 46. And then the larger leg, we don't know. But we have to have one. Otherwise, it won't work. So go ahead and cross multiply. This is going to be 18x equals to 20 times 46. 120 divide this by 18. And 920 over 18, I think it would be, did I do this right? 20, 10, larger over smaller. Oh, I got this flipped, right? That's why it's off. So the larger leg would be this length, 20 plus 26, which is 46. 20 plus 26, 46, and then the smaller leg is the length of the plum tree, which is x, right? So yeah, go ahead and cross multiply. 820 over 20 is it's about 41.4. So I know they probably reduced it. I think it's B, but if you want to double check, put 207 over 5 in the calculator and you get 40. Yes, that's the one. Because yeah, they reduced, so it's really good. This one, on the unit circle, what are the coordinates of x, comma, y of 225? So this is where you got it. Now you're doing a circle, but 225 is the third quadrant. Okay. An x coordinate of negative -5 or 2 over 2, and a y coordinate of negative -2 over 2. That's it. So which one is that going to be? I think it will be B. They didn't simplify it, but if you rationalize it to okay, right? There you go. Evaluate the following quadratic when x equals 9. This is not too bad. So yeah, all you gotta do is wherever you see an x, plug in 9. So it's gonna be 4 times square minus 3 times 9 is 24. And you could just put that in the calculator. Done. Minus 321. 28 sine squared over cosine squared equals plus 1. So I know that sine over cosine is regular tangent, but because there's a square, right? Sine over cosine is tan x. Because there's a square, it's going to be tan squared. So now this is also a Pythagorean identity, right? That's going to equal to secant squared. So yeah, let's see. Write the equation and the following inequality. So all you gotta do is try to get x by itself. So 18 times 1/2 is 9. And then 18 times 20 is 16. Yes. And then I'm going to subtract 5x. I subtract that. Plus equal to this cancels. 125. That's 9. It's 126. Divide this by 355. At 136. So its x is less than equal to 136 over 355. And because this is less than, it's going to be from negative infinity to 136 over 355. And then I'm going to use a bracket because it has an percent. Letter C.
Write the following in solution and interval notation. So you have -3 is less than or equal to x. It's less than 5. So really, it's going to be bracket -3, 5, x. So why did I put a parenthesis with 5? Because it doesn't have an equal. And why did I put a bracket for the -3? Because that it does have equals, so it's going to be bracket -3, 5. The correct factorization of polynomial 25x squared minus 4. That is a perfect square, right? It can be factored out like this. It would be like 5x, 5x, and plus 7. So it's a perfect square, right? So 5x plus 7, 5x minus 7. Yeah, 5x plus 7, 5x. So this one's a good one. If you conduct 5 independent experiments, uh, that each have a probability of less than 5% of yielding incorrect results. And what is the probability that all 5 gives correct results? So, uh, how would we set this up? So it's just really this probability of E equals P parentheses million. Uh, so, so it's just really 0.95 raised to the 5. That's it. And that is like 7%. So it's gonna be there you go. What is this discriminant of the quadratic equation? So you have what is a discriminant? It is b squared minus 4ac. That's it. That is a discriminant. So those are a, b, and c. So my a is 7, b is 12, and c is 2. So it's going to be 12 squared is 4 times a is 7, and c is 20. I got it. So 12 squared is 1.4. It's -416. Okay, this one. So I tried doing this one and solve for the quadrant. So what I would do not fill this out. It's a really short problem actually. Subtract if I subtract 7 from both sides, you get in parentheses x plus 7 square less than -7. Right. reason why is no, it's deemed no solution. The reason why is this number should always be positive. If you have a negative number, it's not possible. So that's why this is a short problem. It's 27. What is the domain? So how do you find the domain? So you kind of have to just set the denominator zero. So you kind of set the denominator zero and solve for x. That's basically it. But you got to find the LCD. Uh, this is a base of 1. This is an x squared minus 4. This is a base of x. So really, it's just x times x squared minus 4, right? Mhm. So this is like perfect square x plus 2 times x minus 2. Get x 0, x equals negative 2, x equals 2. So it's going to be from negative infinity to negative 2. We get 0. 28 says find the slope. So this is a linear line. It's in the form of y equals mx plus b. All you got to do is basically find the number in front of that. So be careful. They put the b first. Really, it's just y equals negative. You can rearrange this as well. Yes, 6, and then might have negative 3. Most of yourself is negative 3. That's it. This one is a circle graph. It says given the equation below, graph this. So you have x squared plus y squared equals to 25, right? So what do we know? We know the center is going to be 0, 0, and then the radius is not 25, but the square root of 25, which is 5. So what is each of these graphs gives you a center, and then we go 5 units to the right, 5 units left, 5 up, and 5 down, right? Yeah, it looks like it's B. Here's the center, 0, 0, 5 to the right, 5 to the left, 5 up, 5 down. Definitely. And then over here, 30. Let's see, I want to get rid of the, you can do elimination. If I get rid of the y's, I would have to multiply this up by 2. 3x plus 2y plus 12. Well, this out, 2x plus 2y. Y is canceled, so 3x plus 2x is 5x. And then 12 plus 8 is 20. 5 is 5. And equals 20 divided by 5 is squared. And then you may solve for y by plugging it back into either up in here. But 3x or something maybe 3 times 4 plus 2y equals 12. So 4 times 3. Well, and get 2y equals 0, and then y equals 0. So y equals 0, x equals 4. X equals 4, y equals 0. X equals 4, y equals 0. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, there you go. Okay, so that is a let's see what we did. So I know I did this one. I should get on with it, but it's easy to make mistakes. So let's see. Did I make any? Oh no, I didn't. Good. So everything's perfect. If you need to rewatch the video, go ahead. So this is Aleks Exam. Yeah, Aleks Exam 8. Okay, I'm gonna stop here.